spirit healing, a legendary being that resonates with all things in the world and brings about miracles. Said to possess overwhelming beauty and power, she's reserved as a goddess in the human world. The story begins with a dragon who believes that spirit healing should be able to heal his catless pet. He started calling the spirit of healing by saying, "O spirit of healing, said to cure all ailments of creation, the great master of time calls upon you. Appear. If you lend me your power, I shall offer a worthy price in return." A blinding light emerged, together with a magic circle on the ground. The dragon continuously calls the spirit of healing, but a clueless man appeared at the center of the magic circle. The dragon was puzzled, especially the guy. "This is overwhelming beauty? Humans sure have strange standards of beauty," the dragon uttered. He told the guy that what matters to him now is his ability. He continued to call the spirit of healing, believing that the guy was the one given to him. The guy was confused, but he concluded he had already died and was now in another life. He's Kim Ohjin, a 32-year-old veterinarian. He's 2 years in pre-vet, 4 years in veterinary school. After getting his veterinary license, he worked for 3 years as a low-paid vet. He finally opened his own clinic. However, there were no customers. Just when the piling rent and loan interest were starting to choke him into contemplating death. Now, he has been summoned to another world. He was wondering if he had died of a heart attack in his sleep or something, but he believes it is not the worst way to go. He observed the surrounding and noticed he's in a goddamn freezing cave with a pile of gold and jewels that looks like he'd fall into a pit of flames for greed just by touching it. There was also a giant, vicious, talking lizard bigger than an elephant. A summoning circle that looks like it'd call forth the devil himself. And he dead, without even paying off his damn debts. Sir, so what happens to me now?" he asked to the dragon. The dragon then told him he just needed to treat his pet. He cannot believe that he's still doing vet work even in death. At the same time, he thought that the dragon was like the gatekeeper of hell. The dragon stood straight and said, "Heal my adorable child." So much dust flew toward Ohjin. When the dust disappeared, he clearly saw Catless, who was trembling in pain. It is a fruit bat family with an introverted trait. Just a first glance, Ohjin knew it was a bat. He was speechless while staring at it, and heard the dragon think he saw it as a cute pet. But for him, it doesn't look too good since it was skinny and looks drained of energy. "What's its name? And how long have you been raising it? When did it start showing symptoms?" Ohjin asked while touching the bat. According to the dragon, he has raised Catless for about a week now. That is because keeping bats in their world is trendy these days. Before he raised his own bat pet, he had friends who boasted about their bat pets. At that moment, he got motivated to raise one for himself. Luckily, he saw Catless on the same day that he decided to raise one. Catless was stuck at the entrance of a dungeon, so he caught him. Ohjin was out of words while staring at the dragon. He was disappointed since one of his most hated owners is irresponsible, those who adopt pets just because it's trendy. Anyway, the little guy looks pretty skinny. "Is he eating well?" he asked. He doesn't want to be too harsh, knowing that the dragon didn't abandon the bat yet. As per the dragon, Catless doesn't seem to eat much at all. He catches fresh animals every day and feeds Catless their blood, but Catless won't even touch it. He just concludes that Catless takes after him, refined taste and all. Ohjin bowed on the ground while holding the bat. He's already pissed at the dragon. The dragon was confused about what he was doing without knowing that the number 5 of Ohjin's most hated owners is those who don't bother learning about the pet they brought home. Why? Is it some kind of serious disease? Then what do I do? Should I find better blood? The dragon asked. Ohjin then replied that Catless is a fruit, but it can't eat blood even if he will given blood to it. He got madder when the dragon insisted that other dragons said they fed their bats with blood. He shouted to the dragon, telling him that those bats are a different species, which might be vampire bats. But for Catless, he can only eat fruit, and he was sure that the reason why he was weak is because the dragon has been starving him for a whole week by giving him blood he couldn't even eat. The dragon was stuttering. He claimed it was his first time raising a bat. That's why you're supposed to study. If you're going to raise a living being, shouldn't you at least have that much responsibility? And what the hell is with this temperature? It's so cold that the poor bat could wake up mid-hibernation, Ohjin angrily said. The dragon then reasoned that it is because he's an ice dragon, but Ohjin told him that he shouldn't raise pets if he can't provide the right environment. The dragon was overwhelmed by Ohjin. Ohjin, at the same time, asked him why he would raise an animal just because it was trendy, as if it were some kind of fashion accessory. The dragon wanted to question Oh-jin how he dared to act so arrogantly in front of him, who is a dragon, but he's afraid he has no comeback. For someone who claims to love nature, he doesn't know what he has done. He felt pity for Catless, thinking it is small as it may be, but it is still a life. Just like Oh-jin said, he should have taken on the responsibility that comes with it. He put Catless back in his fist, and Oh-jin caught his attention when he started talking to Catless. He admitted that because of his selfishness and misguided desires, he made him suffered. He apologized to Catless and promised to prepare fresh fruits for him right away, then return him to where he came from. Your happiness matters more than my own greed. Thank you, Catless, he uttered. Oh-jin was staring at him, guessing that hell is more reasonable than he thought. The dragon thanked him and told him he would pay the price for borrowing his power. He asked what he wanted to wish, and Oh-jin then wished that he wanted to be born as an Araboil prince in his next life, or got reincarnated as a villain's filthy rich heir. The dragon was puzzled. He told Oh-jin he doesn't understand even a single word. Oh-jin, on the other hand, doesn't know what spirit healing the dragon keeps saying. Since the dragon can't understand what he wants, he just gave him a magical artifact imbued with his divine power. With this, Oh-jin will be able to create whatever he desires. However, if he harbors wicked intentions, he won't be able to use it. But the dragon doubts that it will be a problem for someone like him. The dragon thanked him for the second time and wished him to return safely. A silhouette then appeared, and Oh-jin, at this moment, was confused, wondering if this world was really an afterlife. He was surprised when he also realized that he might have actually experienced something that only ever happens in comics. Wait, hold on. Mr. Dragon, if my wish is to come back to life, then please send me back to the early days of Bitcoin, he said, and he vanished after the dragon led him back to his world. Oh-jin returns to the human world. He regrets missing the once-in-a-lifetime chance of, and he was annoyed with himself for not asking the dragon for the golden plot of land in Nanhyangdong, or asking for the Terra stock to go back up. I should have trained myself to wish faster. All I got from being summoned was a damn necklace, he uttered. He stared at the necklace, clueless about what he could use it for. He smirked, stating that the dragon didn't even tell him how to use the necklace, making him believe that the dragon is just a full-on scam artist. A guy carrying a drum came and scolded him for taking up the whole alley. He immediately stood and ran away. Then, he stopped when he heard the people around him selling items at a cheap price. He looked around and saw people wearing old clothes. Someone bumped him and said, "What a damn nuisance in the middle of the street." He was so confused, wondering if he had been reincarnated or if this was just possession. He remembered that the dragon informed him he would be sent back home, but the place was different. A lady selling fruits calls him, inviting him to buy some fruits. He approached her, but he only asked about the place. "What? You lost or something? Your clothes looked odd. You must be a traveler," the lady said. According to her, this place is the Belmore region, located south of Baron Doyle's domain. Not much in terms of sightseeing, but the inns and shops are lined up really nicely, so travelers passing through always stop by at least once. Oh-jin was asked where he came back, and he just replied he came from some place, a whole different level of far away. He was annoyed at the dragon for sending him to this place. Their conversation was cut when they heard a commotion. All the fruits fell on the ground. A giant rabbit swallowed a box of carrots, as if it belonged to him. She's Elizabeth, a giant lop-eared rabbit, 16 months age, and her trait is that she eats excessively when stressed. The people near her immediately run away in fear. Oh-jin was shocked and thought that monsters just casually walk around like it's nothing in this world. The lady then informed him that Elizabeth is Lord Belmore's pet rabbit, and she warned him to run while can. She then ran away to escape while complaining about her low sales for today. Oh-jin is still confused. He looked back at Elizabeth and saw a girl crying in fear. Elizabeth widely opened her mouth to swallow the girl. Oh-jin panicked, and he still couldn't believe that Elizabeth was known as a rabbit because of her size. He immediately ran toward the girl while thinking he have never heard of anyone getting bitten to death by a damn rabbit. Before Elizabeth could swallow the girl alive, Oh-jin pulled the girl. Oh-jin stumbled on the ground while still trying to protect the kid. "Are you okay? What is actually going on?" he asked. The girl was still terrified. Oh-jin was glad he saved someone, but when he looked back at Elizabeth, he realized that he and the kid were both about to die in this case. He closed his eyes, blaming the owner of Elizabeth for letting her roam around. He was annoyed that there was an owner who didn't put his pet on a damn leash despite knowing it was a giant animal. Surprisingly, the necklace given by the dragon suddenly lit. It creates a blinding light, and this surprises Oh-jin. A strap wrapped around the rabbit's neck and her tummy. It was pulled by Oh-jin. Oh-jin himself was shocked. He was terrified when Elizabeth looked at him. The people around them were also shocked, knowing that the thing he was using was magic, and they started to think he was a wizard. The fruit owner was also surprised, as she thought that Oh-jin was just some wandering traveler since his looks didn't seem like an average tourist. Oh-jin was confused about how he caught Elizabeth. A group of men ran toward Elizabeth, and the guy in the middle said, "Godness, my Elizabeth. So this is where you were hiding. Do you have any idea how worried Dad was?" This guy seemed to be a noble, and behind him were his servants. He blamed them for not catching Elizabeth. He then smiled widely, inviting Elizabeth to have a walk with him. It turned out he was Lord Belmore, and he was shocked upon seeing his pet tied up. He was mad at Oh-jin and asked him what he thought he was doing. Oh-jin then replied, "I apologize for retraining her without consent, but someone almost died." Lord Belmore hugged his pet, and he didn't believe Oh-jin at all. He ordered Oh-jin to remove the thing wrapped around his rabbit. "If you're that confident, why don't you go ahead and stick your head in her mouth?" Oh-jin replied. His number 4 most hated pet owner is those who would say, "My baby would never do that." Do you have any idea how strong a rabbit's bite is? You could know. She could probably crush that soft-looking skill of yours like a boiled potato. Oh, but if you're scared of dying, you can just stick in one leg instead. You love her, right? So you can endure it, yeah? He added, "What the hell? What's with that insolent look? Are you looking to die?" Lord Belmore replied. The fruit vendor and the kid with her were shocked to see Oh-jin's bravery. They were satisfied with how Oh-jin acted in front of Belmore. Right now, Oh-jin noticed a small wound on Elizabeth's ear. He was annoyed once again and stopped himself from being mad, telling himself he's an educated adult, so he must hold his anger. He realizes that Elizabeth is a lop-eared rabbit because of the shape of her ears, and he explained to Belmore that domestic rabbits don't go for walks, and even if they did, they were not allowed to crowded places. He informed Belmore that rabbits are territorial animals, so they get extremely stressed in unfamiliar environments. Then, he asked Belmore if her pet had shown signs of self-harm or aggressive behavior. Belmore was shocked that Oh-jin knew about it. He then informed Oh-jin that Elizabeth has been pulling out her own for a lot lately. Oh-jin then said that it is one of the common behaviors rabbits show when they're stressed, and he concludes Elizabeth could get seriously ill or her lifespan could be drastically shortened if Belmore keeps this up. Belmore panicked upon hearing it. Oh-jin then warned him to stop his pet from walking around. Belmore then asked how his pet could exercise, and Oh-jin told him Elizabeth could do it at home, and he asked how Elizabeth could bulk up so much. He understood that Belmore really loves Elizabeth, but rabbits are incredibly sensitive animals, so spoiling them isn't enough. What matters is raising them properly with knowledge and care. Belmore was speechless and concluded that Oh-jin loves rabbits, which is why he knew a lot about them. He felt down all of a sudden, proclaiming that people always looked down on him, saying only noble ladies raise rabbits. And he never thought he'd meet such a fine rabbit enthusiast. "Are you in this line of work?" Belmore asked, and Oh-jin replied, "Yeah, well, sort of." Belmore then called his butler and ordered him to bring over everything he had brought. The butler then handed Oh-jin while Belmore said, "It's not much, but please accept this. I'd appreciate it if you could check up on my Elizabeth's health from time to time." He then ran back to Elizabeth and apologized to her for not realizing she was not in good condition. Oh-jin was holding a pouch, and he was still puzzled as he said, "It's not exactly a place I'll be visiting often." The people are still looking at him and are impressed. They suddenly cheered for him, and the fruit vendor thanked him that they could now finally do business in peace because of him. She asked him if she liked apples so she could give him a discount, but he told him he didn't have any money since he just got transported to this place. The lady then told him that the Lord had just given him cash, which was inside the pouch. Oh-jin was shocked when he found out it was true. He tried to bite one of the coins to confirm it wasn't fake. The lady informed him it was a gold coin, a currency recognized for its value in every world. Kim Oh-jin thought to himself that he could just figure out a way to take this back to his original world. "How much for a building here?" he asked. He realizes that Bitcoin isn't even the real issue. He proclaimed he would be opening a second branch of his clinic in this place. believing that he could pay off the debt from his first branch once he could earn enough money from his second branch. A few days passed. Oh-jin gathered people for an interview to work on his second branch clinic. For people came, and all of them wanted to get the job. He was hoping he could find a worker who could reach his qualifications. "Now then, shall we begin? The game of life and death," he said. Before he started this job opening, Lord Belmore discovered he was planning to settle in this place. The opening of Kim Oh-jin's pet clinic's second branch went surprisingly smoothly since Belmore gave him a place where he could start immediately. Because of it, he realizes that the most important thing in life is connections. He was grateful that Lord Belmore prepared a shop for him upon hearing he was settling in this place. There are a lot of rabbit supplies inside, but he doesn't care since it was all free. Now that he has even got a shop, all that is left is to hit it big with business. But he doesn't have enough information about the place, especially about the dragon who gave him the necklace. He wanted to find the dragon to return to his original world since the dragon said he would send him back home, but he ended up dropping him in this place. Since he needed someone he could ask about this place, he decided to hire someone who could double as a technician too. Someone who can assist the veterinarian in treatment and acts like a nurse for animals. And so, today, the staff interview for Kim Oh-jin Animal Hospital began. He asked the first person from the right to introduce himself. The guy then widely smiled and said he's Thomas, the second son of 3 sons and 2 daughters. He was born to a strict father and a kind mother. He has trained both a righteous character and a strong physique. But then, Oh-jin is an old-fashioned man, so Thomas has no personality for him. The applicant number 2 then introduced himself. He's Philip, and his family has been in the animal-related business for generations. Oh-jin then asked what kind of work, and Philip replied it's a butcher shop. He has handled quite a lot of animals since he was young, and there aren't many people around in the city who can handle a knife like he can. Still, Oh-jin doesn't reach Philip in his standard. He really needs to be careful when hiring people, and he believes there surely are a lot of weirdos in this world, too. He then looked to the third candidate, and by this guy's appearance, he could say that this guy looks like he has already chopped someone up. He then told himself he shouldn't judge people by their appearance, so he asked him what made him apply to his clinic. "You're the famous wizard, right, sir? I've been desperately searching for you. Please, I beg you, use me as your doormat." The guy replied and laughed. Because of his behavior, Oh-jin decided he should have judged people by their appearance. The guy suddenly stood and came closer to him. The last candidate still has the guts to ask when her turn will be. Oh-jin then asked if it's not the time to continue the application because of the third applicant's behavior toward him. He was scared and asked for help, and he permitted the last applicant to clean up the third candidate. He was surprised when the lady punched the third applicant without any hesitation. The guy fell on the ground, and the lady then introduced her name, Selena. Oh-jin was still terrified. Selena then continued stating her information. She said she's a roaming animal expert and can do basic treatments too. In short, she's experienced. In an instant, Oh-jin hired her. Just like that, a technician was hired at Kim Oh-jin's pet clinic. The next day, Oh-jin was observing his workplace. He was very happy with his cozy new workplace, but he was cursing since his newly hired technician didn't show up for work. He waited until 12:50 p.m., but Selena didn't come. He was disappointed that he had hired Selena a bit too hastily yesterday, and he was thinking of a new place where he could post a new job ad. However, someone knocked on the door, and he was expecting it to be Selena. He opened the door with annoyance and said, "Did you have a nice lunch?" But it turned out that it was his first customer, and the guy replied, "Ah, not yet. Should I have eaten first?" Oh-jin was puzzled at first, but then he realized it was a customer. He allowed him to enter his clinic and offered a drink. He was so happy while preparing tea, since it was his first customer. The first step toward paying off debt. He was sure he would succeed this time, as he had analyzed all the loss factors from the first branch. During his first branch era, he looked so tired, and every time there was a customer who would refuse to follow his advice, his aura changed differently, and because of that, the reviews of his clinic were all negative, saying he's insane. That is because he couldn't control his temper, so word of mouth wasn't great. But this time, he was sure he would absolutely win people over nicely and get into their wallets. "So, where's the pet you brought in for treatment?" he asked. The customer then showed him his pet. It was a lizard named Oh-jin thought that all animals in this world were weird because of Elizabeth, but now He's expecting Podjack to be just a regular lizard. He asked if it chewed up its cage, which is why it was in his pocket. He started to feel annoyed, but his loan debt kept on telling him to bear with it. It's way cuter this way. Super cute, right? The customer replied while pointing his finger at Podjack. Oh-jin suddenly grabbed the table, and his loan debt reminded him not to act recklessly. The customer asked what happened to the desk, and he lied that it was just a little broken. Fortunately, he managed to calm himself down. He sat and asked the customer why he brought Podjack to his clinic. According to the customer, Podjack isn't exactly that he's sick, but he was weak and sensitive to the cold. Oh-jin then replied that it is how lizards are by nature. The customer added that when he grabbed Podjack's tail, it fell off. Oh-jin was annoyed again and replied that it was normal for lizards. He also informed the customer that grabbing the lizard's tail isn't good. Anyway, just make him healthier, okay? The customer said, without knowing that Oh-jin thinks that the main problem is the owner, not their pet, the same like the dragon. Still, since he doesn't trust the owner of Podjack, he decided to at least run a checkup. He carried Podjack and noticed something on its skin. He then declared that Podjack seems to be suffering from dysectasis, a condition in which shedding does not occur properly. Since he was touching Podjack, the customer asked him to be careful since Podjack is kind of aggressive because he's from the streets. Oh-jin was confused, and when he looked back at the lizard, he noticed there was a flame coming out of its mouth. He was shocked upon seeing it. Podjack blows the flame, and someone grabs Oh-jin away. He flew and was shocked. It turned out it was Selena, and he saved Oh-jin for the second time. You almost took a salamander's fire head-on. I nearly lost my boss on my first day, she said. But Oh-jin was still in pain because of how far she threw him. He was vomiting blood, and he believes that getting hit by the fire might have been better. The first patient at Kim Oh-jin's pet clinic is a salamander species that can't be examined barehanded. His age is unknown, and his trait is to breathe fire when feeling threatened. Now the customer was amazed by Selena. Selena approached him, asking him where he got the salamander. I picked him up from the mountain out back. The moment I saw him, it was love at first sight. I brought him right home, the customer replied. He thought Selena was jealous, but Selena said she wasn't. It's just that she's aware it is illegal to capture salamanders in this territory since salamanders are too wild to be kept by people, and their numbers are already low due to illegal hunting. The customer was shocked upon knowing it, and he asked Selena if he could just keep Podjack. Selena straightly replied no and told him not to worry, as she believes that higher-ups would surely let it slide if they said they were holding a salamander temporarily for treatment, as long as the customer would release Podjack back into the wild right after treatment. The customer doesn't want to let it happen, so he runs away with Podjack and screams, "Just let us love each other." Oh-jin is still shaking in pain, and he's asking Selena what was going on with the customer. Selena then replied that the customer might have decided to head back home. We haven't even started treatment. Where does he think he's going? And you were just watching this unfold. Oh-jin said blankly. With the same reaction, he gave Selena an order to chase the customer. Selena feels a different aura from him, so she was stuttering as she replied yes. Right now in the market, people are peacefully selling and buying goods. The fruit vendor was humming while arranging her fruits. She was very happy that life in this world's actually become more enjoyable since Lord Belmore's rabbit isn't roaming around. She was confident that her stall won't break anytime soon as long as Elizabeth is busy playing with Belmore. She proclaimed life is good, but when she turned her head behind, she saw a guy being chased by Selena and Oh-jin. Oh-jin's customer was in fear that he would be caught. Selena was running fast while Oh-jin felt tired easily. The fruit vendor was puzzled. She suddenly smiled and said, "I don't know what's going on, but let's not pry." Oh-jin's customer started to cry, wondering why he was being chased. He's afraid his pet will be taken from him. "Don't worry, Podjack. This is also a trial for us. No one can separate us," he uttered. Oh-jin is commanding him to stop and informing him that his pet needs to molt. After a few minutes of running, the customer disappeared. Oh-jin was panting, complaining about how fast the customer ran. Selena then told him he needed to exercise a bit. "By the way, Oh-jin, that salamander, could it really not have molted?" she asked. Oh-jin replied yes, and explained that there are already 2 or 3 layers piled up to the salamander, so it needs to be taken off quickly. Selena then told him they should hurry and get the salamander to let it mold. It turned out that if a salamander can't molt, fire builds up inside it. And when that fire reaches an unbearable level, it leads to a massive rampage. The salamander's rampage was dangerous as it would turn an entire area into ruin, not just its owner. Oh-jin was shocked upon hearing it, so he decided not to waste time and continued searching for the salamander. The salamander owner managed to go back to his home and believes no one follows him. He smiled as he put down Podjack on the table and told him that no one can separate them. He was about to play a song to commemorate the moment without noticing that the salamander started breathing fire. He was singing a song while the salamander's body was wrapped in flame. The guy turned his head around and asked Podjack if he liked the song he played, but then a sudden explosion happened. Inside his house was covered with smoke. He was coughing. He stood and saw that his house was flaming. He asked Podjack what was going on and if he was the one who did it. He was worried Podjack was angry about something. He walked toward him while telling him he shouldn't set a fire casually. He extended his arm, planning to grab Podjack to bring him outside, knowing that his place is now in danger. But then, Podjack blows another flame. He was dumbfounded, but he still believed that Podjack won't shoot fire at him because they were family. He didn't move at all, but Selena came and saved him. Oh-jin, at the same time, grabbed Podjack barehandedly. Podjack tried to resist and was planning to blow more flame, but Oh-jin stopped it. "Miss Selena, did the rampage mean that it attacks people too?" Oh-jin asked. And Selena replied, "It has completely lost its reason. If we leave it like this, it will breathe out an even bigger fire, so we need to calm it down." Oh-jin doesn't have any idea how to calm it down. Then he remembered the necklace and believes that he needs a fire extinguisher. The thing in his mind then comes out of the necklace. He was shocked, but he immediately sprayed it at the salamander. The salamander's face was covered with white foam. Oh-jin sprayed it once more, and at the same time, he realized that the necklace given by the dragon was indeed useful. Fortunately, the flame was somewhat suppressed. Selena then asked the guy if he was okay, and the guy was still in a shocking state as he couldn't believe his pet was in a rampage. "That's it. Otherwise, Podjack wouldn't have attacked me. If it doesn't molt, it ends up like this." "Yeah, it's good, I realized it now. I can take better care of it from now on," he stated. Oh-jin was confused. "Is that all you have to say about this situation?" he asked. The guy then told him not to worry since his feelings for Podjack haven't changed. And about his house, he can rebuild it anytime. And he assured that he's okay. Even if he burns it again, he's still fine. If it had gone on longer, the neighbor's house would also have burned, and people could have been hurt. "Is it enough that you're okay?" Oh-jin replied. The guy then told him that he would take better care of it from now on, but Oh-jin was already pissed. He told him he shouldn't raise wild animals recklessly, since these kind of animals have their own environment to live in. Moreover, to bring them in just because they're cute without really knowing about the animal's ecology isn't about love. The guy was out of words the moment Oh-jin asked him if he's confident he can control the salamander by himself if it goes rampage again. He was stuttering as he replied that he could. His salamander was smiling at him. Oh-jin then proclaimed that life cannot be nurtured with affection alone. A moment of silence, that's how their conversation ended. Meanwhile, they went to the wilderness where the salamander's place should be. They let it molt, and Oh-jin was sure it would get healthier now. Upon seeing Podjack after it molted, Celine said that its complexion now looks good. However, it has grown quite a bit. "How did such a large body fit in that shell?" Oh-jin asked. And Selena then replied, "This is the mystery of nature, director." The salamander's owner was also surprised that his Podjack had grown so much, and he's sad thinking that Podjack won't need his help anymore. He started to cry again as he believed Podjack would return to the vast nature that could embrace his existence. "Podjack, you have to be happy. I'm letting you go because I love you. Even without me, eat well, sleep well, but think of me sometimes," he said with teary eyes. Oh-jin covered his ears and said, "No, don't do that. It will erase his instinct." Podjack started leaving while his temporary owner cried loudly and told him they were always together in his heart. Podjack was running for his freedom. The guy screamed his name, and he was upset that Podjack didn't even say goodbye to him. Selena tapped his back and cheered up. She informed him that salamanders originally do not have the concept of a master, and she was sure that Podjack probably saw him merely as a slave who fed him. But then, the salamander stood on the cliff. He blew a flame, and the three caught his attention. The flame turned into a firework the moment Podjack released it. The guy was very happy as he knew it was the way of Podjack to say goodbye to him. Selena and Oh-jin were also watching the fireworks. The guy then uttered, "Podjak, you're amazing." At this point, the first patient, Salamander's treatment, has been completed. After that, the guy went to the plaza and enjoyed playing music with other people. He said in his song that his name is Roisha. While singing, the Starlight Children's Choir was performing a dance. Bobblehead, a gem artist, was also with them, playing. Oh-jin and Selena were watching the performance, and as per Selena, Roisha is quite a well-known bard around the place. But for Oh-jin, Roisha's song is so messy. However, he realizes that the song Roisha made is about him, whom Roisha believes is a wizard. He fell in love with the music and even said, "That's what you call music. It's the first time I've been moved by music." A few days after the release of the CM song, Kim Oh-jin's pet clinic had so many customers waiting for him to open the door. He doesn't know how to handle so many customers in a day, and even Selena wanted to resign. They unexpectedly experiencing an unprecedented boom. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment for another part, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Till next time.